Hi guys, welcome to Haywire Homestead. Today we're going to finally work on starting our seeds. So we've got a couple different things here. I've got some peat pot seed starters. I have some plugs, just plastic little 6-packs plugs. And then I have some of the natural organic seed starting mixture. And then I also have the little I call these pucks. They're just little teeny tiny pucks. You soak them with water and they swell up. You start the seeds in here and then I can transfer them to a larger container as needed as they grow. So with all of these, I will have to get the dirt in these ones, get it soaked so that way the peat pots are damp. And then with these ones, we'll have to add the water so that way they swell up, and then we'll start adding the seeds. So let me show you some of the seeds I'm going to be starting. I've got a few more I have to pick up, a different kind of tomato that I want to do, and I didn't pick them up yet. So I've got beefsteak tomatoes. And all of these are heirloom seeds. I have some tomato Illini stars. These are actually from Baker Creek. And I also have some chocolate habaneros, some yellow sweet peppers, red and green cabbage, and my number one new thing, I'm going to start my asparagus as well. And then I'm going to get my some seeds for either Romas or San Marzonos, which I really like for as a paste tomato, or my tomato juice whenever I do those up to make my tomato sauces and everything. So I'm going to get those started today as well. I took a look at my Clyde's planner so I could determine some of the things that would be really good for starting indoors. I'm a little behind the cabbages. I should have already had started, but I figure I might as well go ahead and try. And we're going to show you guys here shortly how that goes. Okay, so I have my handsome assistant Gabe here helping me, and he's going to add some warm water to this. And this is to just get our little peat pucks started. So you're going to add water just to fill it up, and we'll let them swell up. And then if they need, and then if there's excess water, we'll just pour that water off once we get done. So that you're going to leave these set for just a little bit and let them swell up so they'll be ready to plant in. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill the peat pot ones up with some of our organic seed starter mix. And my handsome assistant Gabe is going to go ahead and fill them up. Once we get these all filled, we'll also add water and get these ones wet. Let them sit for a few minutes, and then we'll get started on planting the seeds. Okay, so my tray of this one's ready. My little pucks are still soaking a little bit more. They're not quite all the way swelled up. So I'm going to go ahead and start adding the seeds. As they grow, I'm going to need to probably transplant these into a little bit bigger pot. So the little pucks will have to be transplanted. These as well might wind up needing to be transplanted before they go into the ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and put the seeds on, and then you put the little plastic cover on to create like a little mini greenhouse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my little Illini Star tomato seeds from Baker Creek. And there's not a whole lot of these in here. It's the first year I've ever grown these, so I'm excited to see how these turn out here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a little nail, and I'm just going to make a little hole, and I'm going to put 2 seeds in each one. Whoops, had an extra one in that one. And then I'm just going to cover them up just a little bit. pod trays just so that way you can see it. And we'll do an update video to see how everything's growing. Here we go. So in this one, I'm gonna do a row of what's called straight 8s cucumbers. So these are just regular dual purpose. They're really good for slicing. They're good for pickles. I've grown these quite a few times, and these are heirloom. They are non-GMO. And we're just gonna go ahead and in that little tiny hole right in the middle, I'm just gonna pop them right down in there. I'm just going to do one row of these because hopefully these take, and they're such prolific growers, I really don't need that many plants. So we're just going to do the one row of those. Actually, you know what, let's go ahead and do 2 rows because seeing as how we're starting the farmer's market this year, cucumbers are a big seller, right? So we will go ahead and do a couple extra. Make sure they're just covered up ever so slightly inside their little pods. And there's my pods needed to sit just a little bit. There they go. Okay. All right. So I'm done with those. Next is going to be my cabbage. So I'm going to do 2 rows of green and 2 rows of red. That'll fill this whole thing up. Hoping and praying we can get some sauerkraut going this year. Doug and Stacy are big on the fermenting. It's good for your belly. And I'm not a big fan of store-bought sauerkraut, but homemade sauerkraut I actually really like. So these are tiny, tiny little seeds, if you can see them there. And so they're not, it's kind of hard with these. And if you, when they sprout, you're gonna see whichever plant is the biggest and strongest, that's the one you're going to leave in there. And if there's any little stragglers, you're going to remove those. So sticking to my fingers. So we've got our 2 rows of green. Put the seeds back in the pouch, try to get them all the way back in there. And then we're going to do our red cabbage. I like red cabbage a lot better. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the colors. And they always say eat your colors, right? So my other 2 things of pods I think need to soak just a little bit more. And in those I'm going to put my habanero peppers, my beefsteak tomatoes, and then on my asparagus. Go, all done. So I'll go ahead and finish the rest of those up. I hope we gave you guys something to think about and showed you how these Jiffy pods can be really nice and convenient. And we'll update you later on how they're doing. Have a good day, y'all.